was actually the time I did that the first time that you just saw, I went, what came over me? Who am I?
Sally Field, one of Hollywood's most beloved and enduring performers, recently made headlines in a way that thrilled fans and industry insiders alike by naming 7 actors she deeply admires.
Jack Nicholson was there a lot, but I don't remember him ever taking any classes.
During a candid moment at a film panel in Los Angeles, Field surprised the audience by veering off the expected course of conversation. Instead of sticking solely to her own long and illustrious career, she shifted the spotlight to her peers and successors, giving heartfelt praise to a select group of actors whom she finds truly exceptional. Her selections not only revealed a great deal about her personal taste and artistic sensibilities, but also sparked widespread discussion about what makes an actor stand out in an age of relentless content and ever-evolving entertainment landscapes. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. This spontaneous gesture came during a discussion at the American Cinematheque's retrospective series celebrating her decades in film and television. Field, who was initially expected to talk primarily about her roles in classics like Norma Rae, Steel Magnolias, and Lincoln, took a pause as she responded to a question about current performances that move her. Rather than giving a generic or diplomatic answer, she leaned into her own emotional instincts, listing 7 actors with a passion and enthusiasm that clearly moved the audience. Her comments were not rehearsed, nor did they seem calculated. They were the kind of sincere, from-the-heart revelations that only an actor with nothing left to prove could afford to share. There was an immediate sense of reverence in the room as she delivered each name, not as bullet points but as little stories. With each actor mentioned, she gave a brief but vivid description of what she admired in them: their quiet precision, their command of emotion, their complete surrender to the roles they play. Though she avoided using any direct quotes or mimicking specific performances, it was clear that her appreciation stemmed from a deeply internalized understanding of what it means to act. Field is not just a performer, she's a student of the craft, and her choices reflected an eye honed over decades of watching, studying, and embodying some of the most complex characters in modern cinema. The moment stood out precisely because it came from someone with so much lived experience in the industry. Unlike a critic or journalist, whose admiration might be academic or abstract, Field's appreciation for these actors felt tactile, as though she understood them from the inside out. Her selection seemed to transcend the usual celebrity praise, moving into the realm of artistic kinship. She wasn't merely listing who she thought was good or popular, but who she believed was doing something rare and difficult, tapping into emotional authenticity in a way that moved her deeply. Among those named, several have built reputations for their transformative abilities, actors who can dissolve into roles so completely that they become unrecognizable. Field's admiration for this quality is no surprise, considering her own history of disappearing into parts that defy stereotype and expectation. Whether portraying a union organizer, a grieving widow, or a struggling mother, Field has always favored the deeply human, the raw, the complicated. It stands to reason that she would gravitate toward actors who embrace complexity rather than shying away from it, and her list was a testament to that preference. Her choices also spanned generations, signaling an inclusive vision of acting excellence that isn't confined by age, genre, or level of fame. There were veteran actors whose careers have stretched across decades, as well as younger performers who have only recently begun to gain wide recognition. This blend suggested that Field is not only tuned into the past, but is very much engaged with the present moment in cinema. She watches, she listens, she cares about what acting looks like now, not just what it looked like during her rise in the 1970s and 1980s. Her comments revealed a kind of quiet mentorship, a passing of the torch not through formal teaching but through genuine recognition. The ripple effect of her praise could be felt almost immediately. Even though Field didn't say these things on a televised stage or in a press release, the nature of the event, a relatively intimate gathering attended by critics, filmmakers, and fans, meant that her words carried the gravity of authenticity. In an industry where flattery is often meted out in carefully controlled doses, there was something refreshing and powerful about an actor of her stature offering praise with no strings attached. It reminded everyone listening that respect in the acting community isn't just about awards or box office numbers. It's about how you make your peers feel when they watch you work. One of the subtler but fascinating implications of Field's selections is the way they highlight the current state of acting itself. In a media landscape flooded with content, where quantity often threatens to outweigh quality, her choices served as a subtle manifesto for what still matters: truthfulness, vulnerability, and the courage to explore the full range of human experience. These were not performers who rely on gimmicks or who coast on their charisma. They are artists willing to dig deep, to shed their own personas, and to prioritize character over image. By celebrating them, Field was also making a quiet but firm statement about where she believes the soul of acting lives today. It also reflected her personal trajectory in subtle ways. Field's career has always been about transformation, about breaking expectations. From her early days as a bubbly TV ingenue in Gidget and the Flying Nun, to her eventual emergence as a powerhouse in serious drama, she has continually defied typecasting. Her admiration for actors who do the same suggests a kind of kindred spirit recognition. She has walked the road of reinvention, and she sees and respects those who are brave enough to do the same. At a deeper level, Field's praise functioned almost like a love letter to the art form itself. In speaking about these 7 actors, she wasn't just talking about individual talent, she was articulating her values, what she believes good acting should be. For someone who has earned the right to remain silent and let her resume speak for itself, the decision to name names was generous and a little bit radical. It disrupted the usual flow of industry praise, which is often driven by campaigns and strategies, and reminded everyone that peer recognition, when offered sincerely, carries a different weight altogether. Moreover, her praise underscores the importance of intergenerational dialogue in the arts. Too often, entertainment can feel siloed, divided by genre, age, or medium. By bridging those gaps in her choices, Field signaled that great acting is not bounded by those categories. Whether the performer in question was best known for indie films, prestige television, or blockbuster franchises, her metric remained the same: emotional truth and complete immersion. This open-mindedness adds another layer of respect to her already substantial legacy. She is not a relic of the past, but an active participant in the ongoing evolution of her craft. In the days that followed the event, discussion about Field's remarks lit up social media platforms, online forums, and industry gatherings. People weren't just curious about who she had named, they were intrigued by why. What did it mean to be singled out by someone like Field? What values were being celebrated through her choices? The conversation went beyond gossip or star-watching and touched on something deeper: the standards by which we measure excellence in performance, and how those standards shift or remain stubbornly constant over time. There was also an undeniable emotional component to Field's comments. At 78, with a body of work that spans nearly 60 years, she has reached a place in her career where she can reflect with wisdom but also speak with urgency. Time lends clarity, and her list of admired actors felt like a summation of her own artistic philosophy. These were not fleeting trends or temporary fascinations. Her selections had the ring of permanence, like monuments to something essential and enduring. She was pointing not only to individual brilliance, but to a collective ideal of acting that she holds dear. One particularly moving aspect of the moment was how little ego there was in it. Field has every reason to center herself in any public appearance. Her accolades, including multiple Oscars, Emmys, and Lifetime Achievement Awards, would justify it. Yet here she was, using her platform to elevate others, not out of obligation or performative generosity, but out of genuine reverence. It was a reminder that the best artists are often the most humble, the ones who continue to be inspired, to learn, and to give back in subtle but meaningful ways. The impact of her words rippled outward not just in the industry, but among fans and aspiring actors who saw in her praise a kind of roadmap. If Sally Field thinks these 7 actors are doing something right, then perhaps their work deserves a closer look. For young performers trying to find their voice, or for filmgoers seeking deeper emotional experiences, Field's comments offered something rare: a curated list not based on popularity or commercial success, but on artistic merit and soul. It was a gentle recalibration of the spotlight, moving it away from celebrity hype and towards substance. There's also historical resonance to what happened. Hollywood has a long tradition of actors praising one another, but it's often formalized, polished, or tied to award seasons. What made Field's gesture different was its intimacy and its immediacy. She wasn't reading from a script or presenting a lifetime achievement trophy. She was simply speaking, almost in passing, about who moves her. And that made it feel more genuine, like a glimpse into the private heart of someone who, despite decades of fame, has managed to keep her artistic compass intact. In many ways, that short list of 7 names felt like a key to understanding Field herself. The qualities she admired, depth, fearlessness, restraint, nuance, are the very qualities that define her best performances. By naming those actors, she was also telling us what she values in herself, and by extension, what she thinks the art of acting should aspire to. It was both personal and universal, a moment of clarity in a business that often thrives on ambiguity. The event also served as a kind of cultural litmus test. Audiences and critics who heard her choices were prompted to reflect on their own standards of excellence. What does it mean to be a great actor in 2025? Is it about transformation, empathy, courage, or some elusive combination of all three? Field's gesture didn't answer these questions directly, but it framed them in a way that invited reflection. It was a rare and beautiful thing, an elder of the craft holding up a mirror not just to her peers, but to the audience itself. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Sally Field's picks? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.